Respect their bodies, respect their life. The journey of Victoria Ruiz on becoming an activist. Nowadays, society faces a myriad of social and humanitarian issues that many people do not know about. I was one of those persons who didn't know what was happening in the country where I live and also in countries far away from me. Just the moment that I got in contact with a female genital mutilation victim in my undergraduate years, I discovered the matter that made me become the activist that I am today. Me, an activist? Was I out of my mind? Of course not. I underwent FGM at 1 week old, so I had no memories of it. It wasn't until I got married that I fully got to understand the extent of the practice on me. I saw read that Tuesday, Yaha Dikire words, the first woman ever to say no to female genital mutilation in the Gambia. I realized that I wasn't familiarized with delicate topics like this one during my entire educational career. I knew about women and human rights, but I never heard about female circumcisions taking place even in the United States. Young girls undergo such traumatic practices against their will, and many of the communities where they live hold traditional habits that could affect their economic and social status if they are opposed to circumcision. But what about their health conditions? Perhaps they don't realize that rather than encouraging reproduction and purity, it only harms women's well-being. All the pain, bleeding, and infections they get, or even worse, the complications through childbirth or dyspareunia. Yaha was right. We need to make sure that no child is at risk of FGM. It violates the rights to physical integrity and freedom from inhuman treatments. I remember testimonials who described their mutilators as the most ugly animal they had ever seen. Yes, the human being itself. But I don't want to stop here. I want to do more than this. I want to support the cause. I want to fight against FGM. Just like that, my first experiences with FGM victims were during my college days. I joined organizations and workshops that treated FGM victims. Equality Now being one of those. Now, I am currently educating my community on topics such as FGM, child marriage, and sex trafficking through my own nonprofit. I wanted to start my own journey disseminating the word globally during my years in college, not only in the United States, but in Australia, India, and even Colombia. We needed to start raising awareness about this in school institutions and working centers. We needed, and we still need, to hear my community leaders talking about this practice, and we need to receive their support in ending such cruel activity. All these were my goals back in the days where I was a college student, and now they have been fulfilled. Now we need to prevent that those 62 million FGM victims predicted for 2031 do not undergo this brutal practice. My objective, through the nonprofit NGO that I have created along with FGM victims, is to raise awareness for humans' rights, for women's rights, and for girls' rights. Currently, health services and facilities are being provided to the most undernourished communities, so people who have been through FGM practices can be treated appropriately. Respect their bodies, respect their life. It is a space where women, their families, and community leaders learn the consequences of how such degrading treatment impacts the life of a human being forever. Our workshops and classes empower young women and girls to practice their human rights and give them the opportunity to raise their voices.